Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility.
Welcome back, dudes, bros, and non-binary. Wait, isn't that dudes and bros the same thing? Anyway, welcome back to some more Camp Geek Squad. I know it's been a while, but things have been a bit hectic. I had so many doctor's appointments and still more to come, including autism assessment, health assessment. But we doing okay now. We're doing okay. This video has been in the work of a while. It's taken a bit of research, more than I've done in a while. And as you can tell by the name of the title, it is the changes I would make to the great dojutsus. First, we're going to start off with the two from Konoha, the Sharingan and the Byakugan. Essentially, the Sharingan is way too overpowered in comparison. It has all the abilities, whether Byakugan has let's face it, it's not that overpowered. It was told to be the greatest dojutsu, in Konoha. But then the Sharingan's got all these cool abilities, even just the it's just up to the three Tome. Let alone the MS abilities like Amaterasu or Kotsu Matsukame, or the one that Obito and Kakashi have, Kamui, that's the one, all really overpowered, and the Susanoo on top of that, and Izanagi and Izanami, I think it is, there's way too many. So let's talk about the changes. First we'll talk with the Sharingan, because pretty much it's staying the same. So for example, the one Tome enhances the user's sensory observation abilities, enabling them to see and copy the opponent's movements, but due to there being only a one Tome stage, the ability to read the movements is noticeably weaker in comparison because it's not fully mature. So you can't match up to the opponent's move, but you can see what they're doing. It gives you that little basic advantage, whilst also increasing your own reflexes, reactions, and speed. But that's all that I'm going to give the first Tome. The second Tome is essentially the same, but now you can copy the user's taijutsus and jutsus of their opponents, as well as further enhancing your perception abilities and increasing your speed, reflexes, and reactions even more. It also gives you the rudimentary basic chakra tracking abilities, but very barely, So you could see how the opponent uses chakra in their body. This is why you can't. This is why you can copy the taijutsu, but not necessarily the jutsus. Maybe some basic jutsus, but you should already know those. But you can see how vaguely how they're doing it. You can't see exactly what, but you can see the movements just a little bit. And it also increases your genjutsu prowess, just yet again. So this is when it starts to give you that genjutsu prowess. Still not a lot, but still some. And then we get onto the three Tome, the same abilities as all before. The Sharingan's now essentially fully matured, and at this level you can see chakra. You can see its flow in the body enough to copy it, but you can't really see it going through the Tenketsu points. You can't see those, but you can see vaguely how it's moving. So nowhere near compared to the Hyuga, for example. And you can track chakra a little bit, in a radius outside of someone's body. And this is when you start getting some Izanamis, because I'm not going to talk about those. I don't know enough about them to say whether they should be or not. Now, this is when you get the real genjutsu prowess. Now it's a lot better. Essentially, you could have not trained in genjutsu, but you get a three Tome, and you're essentially as good as someone who's been training for 5-10 years, or something like that, like how Itachi, using his three Tomes, was way better than Kurano, even though he was a talented and trained. And then the EMS is essentially, and then we get on to the MS, the one that everyone has been waiting for. The important stuff. No one cares about the three Tome. It's the MS and EMS you want. So essentially, the EMS it gives you a big boost in your perception and visual prowess. Now you're at like the elite of the elite level, like high Jonin, Sanin, low Kage level, and a minimum type with your Genjutsu prowess. And a lot faster, a lot more better reflexes and reactions. And now essentially, unless someone's like also on that extremely high level, you can now see their movements insanely well, where you can know what they're going to do before, like as they're throwing it, you essentially can predict what they're going to do with relative ease. Obviously, it still gives you the ability to do like that on high level opponents, just won't work as well, but it still give you a huge advantage in a fight. And this is when you get your unique ability, your Amaterasu, your Kamui Central. But no more Susanoo. No, that's overpowered. They do not need it. And we'll get more onto that later. And overuse causes blindness. That stays the same, right? But instead of actually causing blindness, I'm actually going to have it where your eyes deteriorate. Essentially, all that blood. Essentially, I'd have it where if you keep using it, instead of your eyes like going blind, your eyes break. So eventually you will literally have no eyes, or they'll be physically broken. And then EMS works the same. It's the exact same, but now you don't go blind, you don't have damage to your eyes. And that is how I would do the Sharingan. So up next, we're going to go on to the Byakugan. So please stay with us. Actually, before we get on to that, this video I've been working on for like a while, and the other day I noticed that NZ Hammer, or Nick Comedy, he does, go check out his channel, it's absolutely amazing. He did a video talking about the Hyuga, and at first I was worried, thinking he'd essentially stolen my idea. Well, not stolen, because, he wouldn't have been able to. But the point is, I thought he would have done it and it would have looked like I'm copying. But this is a video I've been working on for a month now. Because I've had other stuff going on. I'm writing not manga series, web novels. Be sure to check those out. I'll leave a link in those in the description below. Most of them have got 2 of them have got 5 chapters. One has got 10, and one's only on 1. But I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that. So the next chapter of that one is a draft. Is a draft. So the first 2 essentially, you've got the prologue, and the first 2 chapters is a draft. So my fans can decide. But be sure to check those out. Anyway, back on to, so I was worried, but no, it hasn't. But go check out that video. That will be linked in the description below as well. For all your Naruto news, go check out Nick's channel, NC Hammer 23. Also, be sure to go check out his podcast, Otaku's Anonymous, and his Weeb Commander channel, which is everything other than Naruto. I don't know why I'm advertising him. But anyway, next up is the Byakugan, where essentially now in the series you've got the Byakugan. And that's it. So I've made changes. You now have, I'm not going to say one Tome. I'm going to refer to it as one Tome, but I'm not going to have the Byakugan have one Tome. I am going to mean it's the equivalent. So base is the equivalent. So you've got the base, which is, I'm going to call it base, which is this equivalent of the one Tome. Now, this Sharingan, or this Byakugan even, when you first unlock it, you have normal eyes, but you can activate this. So you're like Himawari, you get your normal eyes, but you can activate it. That's how it starts. And at this point, you can see the 3 main Tengetsu points. So like the brain and the heart, like you can see them in detail. The rest of it is just like a massive chakra, like a mass, not a mass. Like you could see the chakra, but you can't see it like the Tengetsu points or its flow. Essentially, you could just see where it is and how much someone has, a rough amount of how someone has. And you can essentially now see what's going around you, like what's around you within a 5 to 15 feet radius. Boost your chakra. Boosts your reflex a little, but mostly boosts your durability and strength. So if you think about it like this, the Sharingan is more for like, I'll get onto that later, but it boosts your speed, your reflex, and your the damage. Where I want the Byakugan to be a more defensive thing. So as well as doing that, it can boost You can vaguely keep a track on the opponent's body, etc., and faintly track chakra. Jeez, I cannot speak English, can I? So what I mean by faintly track is if someone's just used chakra, you can now, and then they've gone off to hide, you can roughly trace that to where they are now. But it's like a rough thing. It's not like this is exactly where they are. You can see a rough trail and like they're in this rough area. Then you get the equivalent of the two Tome Byakugan now, which is all abilities of the previous level are now increased. So, for example, the range is now, instead of 5 to 15, it's now 20 to 50 feet. The amount of Tengetsu points has increased. So, like, you can see, like, the main ones in the arms. You can't see all of them because I think there's, like, a lot. But let's say you can see, like, 3 in each arm, 3 in the legs, and, like, 3 in the body and 2 in the head or something like that. You know, like, you can see more points, essentially. And you can now track chakra down with a further increased range. And after the time you can track after an opponent's used chakra is further. So like if someone was there 30 minutes ago, for example, and they've used chakra, you can now sense that with higher degrees, like even after that time, more accurately than you could before. And this is the level where you can now start to distinguish people's chakra. So you can't say who it is essentially, but now you can see what clan they come from based off the chakra or something like that, you know, or which village. You can now you can slowly start to distinguish. And if anyone you know their chakra a lot by now. And this is where you can now start to use Gentle Fist and all of those normal moves, but at a weaker level. And you can weaken jutsus. You can't destroy jutsus, but using Gentle Fist and your Byakugan, you can now, like, lessen jutsus. You know, like, if someone shoots a fireball at you, you can now hit it with Gentle Fist, for example, and you might be lucky and be able to deflect it, but at the very least, you've lessened its power, you know? And now your base high is now the one Tome Byakugan, you know? It's and so you can see that 515 range, and you get all those other abilities. But your active is now the two Tome. And you're now you have very basic level resistance to Genjutsu. Now, this is something that normally goes with the Sharingan, but I'm not having that. The Byakugan gives you resistance against Genjutsu. Now you get the 3 Tome. This is essentially what you see in series. Everything's enhanced. You can see all Tengetsu points vividly. You can see everything around for miles. You can track chakra extremely well for miles. Your Genjutsu resistance. You can see through Genjutsus and illusions with relative ease. You can also now destroy some medium to basic jutsus and even possibly some advanced jutsus depending on the situation. And this was done in a light novel, I believe. I haven't actually read the light novel or remember which one it's from. But if you want to know, please check out any of Nick's videos. I'm pretty sure he has an answer on it, because that's where I learned this information from. So you can use the Gentle Fist to attack the chakra points in a ninjutsu. So bam, you can now destroy ninjutsus. Let's see, where was I? And it gives you advanced resistance to Genjutsus. You can distinguish people's chakra extremely well. Now, essentially, you can see the different points. And your base Byakugan is what it was before, is the equivalent of the 2 Tome, but it's an increased range. So you can see 100 feet. So you can see at least 100 feet with your base Sharingan, which is the exact same as the 2 Tome, but you see a greater distance. And that's the base one. So essentially, it starts off weaker, gets a little stronger, and then by 3, it's like what it is in the show, but more powerful. And by that point, everyone who's got the equivalent of the 3 Tome Byakugan is essentially highly resistant to Genjutsus, can see through illusions in Genjutsus in other people, can use Gentle Fist to high levels and also destroy jutsus. So really, you can't... Essentially, that means they're great against genjutsu users because they're resistant. They're great against taijutsu users because of they can see the Tengetsu points and use Gentle Fist and block it. And they're good against people who use jutsus because depending on the jutsus, they can destroy it or cut it in half. So, they're very defensive, as you can see. And now we've got the MS equivalent. Or I guess it'd be called the MB, because Mangekyou Sharingan, now it's the Mangekyou Byakugan, I guess, you give it a different name. Now this, yet again, everything's the same, but it's boosted even further. You can see greater range, you're more resistant to genjutsu, all that jazz. But now at this point, you are immune to genjutsu, unless it's from like a Mangekyou one or Kotsumatsu Kame, you are now immune. And you're even highly resistant against those abilities. And now, they get the Susanoo instead of the Uchihas. It just makes sense. They are the defensive members. They are the defensive group, where the Uchihas would be more of your assassins and attack-based people. You know, yes, the Byakugan could be used, but now the Hyugas could be used, and they're both great for the village. This is why they're one of the four great clans, because the four great clans of the Hyuga, the Senju, the Uzumakis, and the Uchihas. And now you've essentially got two with insane life force and chakra, one who are better, have a slightly bigger life force and more wide range of jutsus in the Senju, and you've got the Uzumakis who have insane levels of chakra and sealing jutsus like to another level. And now you've got the Sharingan, you've got the Uchihas with the Sharingan, which are very great for using genjutsus and combat and fighting, people, and very great at assassinations and things like that. They are your offensive group, where the Hyugas are your defensive groups. And now they have the Susanoo on top of that. I just think it suits them more. They can see the chakra, so maybe you need that level of equivalent to see the chakra on that level, so you can now mold your own chakra to make the Susanoo the perfect defense, which suits the defensive team. And you can even, depending on your level of completion with the Susanoo, you can use Gentle Fist with it. You will be near unbeatable, And they also would have the Mind's Eye instead of the Uzumakis. Why can the Uzumakis track chakra so well for no reason? I get they have a lot of chakra, that's why they're and a high life force, that's why they're so good at sealing jutsus and powerful jutsus. But guess what? There's a group of people in Konoha who have eyes that can track chakra. So why don't they have the Mind's Eye instead of the Uzumakis? I will never know. And essentially, that's when you have to activate it. Like the Uchiha have the 3 Tome Sharingan, but they have to activate the Mangekyou Sharingan. And so they have the equivalent. So it's the same with the Uchihas. With the Hyugas here, they have the equivalent of the 3 Tome Byakugan as their base. And this is where you lose normal sight. So essentially with this, you go blind, right? The Uchihas, they destroy their eyes, but the Hyugas, no. They start to go blind, but first they lose normal sight. So they won't be able to see normally. It will constantly in like that tracking chakra roll thing. And then you start to lose that. And then you lose sight and go blind. And then lastly, you have the EMS, which is essentially the same. Now, this is how to prove it. Essentially, you're taking some of the ability away from 2 other clans, mainly the Susanoo and the Mind's Eye, but also the genjutsu resistance of the Uchihas and giving it to the Hyugas. That now boosts the Hyugas, and now you can understand why they're called one of the greats, and you could also see why it's considered one of the best, because they're nearly unbeatable. I wouldn't say they're the strongest clan, because the Uchihas have some broken abilities with Kotsumatsu Kame, Izanagi, Izanami, things like Kamui and Amaterasu, as well as their ability to like see what you're going to do before you do it, and see your moves and just like copy your abilities is really high. But the Hyugas now are resistant to get the big 3 types of jutsus. Ninjutsu, because they can break it in half. Taijutsu, because they can shut off your Tengetsu points, making you weaker. And Genjutsu, because they're resistant. And they can track you down very far. So essentially, both of these would be great for tracking down intruders, defending Konoha, which is why I always thought the Hyuga should have been the cops instead. But maybe they're both cops and they're both in the Anbu, but they're treated differently. And then that would explain why the Uchiha is against Konoha. Because to begin with, they saw how they were treated differently. And by simply taking away a little bit from the Uchihas, but not a lot, and still giving them most of their cool abilities, and giving that to the Byakugan and boosting it and giving them a way to improve, you've now made the 2 clans great again without taking away from the Uchihas and still making the Hyugas now more relevant. It's a win-win, and it just makes more sense. But I hear some of you saying, well, what about the Rinnegan? If you have a Sharingan, it can evolve. Well, I'm pretty sure that you can't just have a regular Sharingan, you can't have a Mangekyou Sharingan and suddenly awaken it. I'm pretty sure there were certain conditions why Madara was able to awaken his. If you want to know out more, go check on Nick's channel. Jeez, I'm promoting him a lot in this video. Do I have a crush on him? No. Maybe? Who knows? No, maybe. Anyway, he's a great YouTuber. If you please go over to check his channels out. Like I've said before, link will be in the description below. And tell him I sent you and tell him to watch this video too. I want to see his opinion. He's probably thinking I'm stupid or crazy because I'm not an expert on the level he is. I just enjoy Naruto a lot. And I have ideas and I like to get them out. So be sure to check out his channel. Also, go check out all my other videos. They're great. Some of them are, maybe. I'll leave that to you, but please hit that subscribe button. Because I need it. So, see you next time. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to go check out Nick's video. And check out my web novels. I'm not perfect. So, just leave comments on the videos on how I could improve. On the videos, on the chapters, on how I can improve. And I will take it into consideration. Bearing in mind, I'm dyslexic, have ADHD, and autism. I am not cut out for being able to sit down and use English very well. But I try my best, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty good. Anyway, till next time, peace.
Sometimes it seems real tough out there, and the future looks very bleak. But those are the moments when we need to dig down deep and push through and just keep going, one step in front of the other, and just keep going. You may need a break. It may seem overwhelming. I like to go outside, take a deep breath, look up at the clouds, and let the world just fade away, just for a few minutes. Other people like to exercise, pet a dog or a cat, listen to music, whatever it is. Find those moments where you can have a little me time and just let everything else go. But most importantly, keep going.